Continuing with my top five tight ends of this NFL draft. Number one is going to be Coby Fleener out of the University of Stanford or Stanford University. Um, really came onto the scene a couple years ago. Became Andrew Luck's favorite target this year. A guy who all first team, I think all American first team, definitely got Pac-12 first team votes. Very good blocker compared to the other guys that I have on this list. He's probably the best blocker out of the five that I have on this list. Um, a, a better athlete than you think that he is. He gets great separation. He doesn't drop a lot of balls coming across the middle. He's a tough kid who will fight linebackers. I think he can outrun a couple of linebackers in the league. And like I said, he's not afraid to go across the middle. And he's a guy that doesn't drop a lot of balls. Somebody you can trust. I think he'll probably be a late first round pick. I think he'll probably be the only first round tight end that will be picked up in this draft. Probably late, maybe the Giants will take him with the last pick in the first round because they're going to need tight end help. But I think he's going to be the first tight end and the only tight end picked in the first round. My second guy out of the University of Georgia is Austin Charles. He reminds me so much of Aaron Hernandez. I think he may actually be better than Aaron Hernandez when it comes to an athletic standpoint and probably overall player. He could play several different positions. You can flank him out to play wide out. He could play the slot. He can play that. He could play the flex tight end position. He could play H back. He could play running back, tight end. You can basically motion him however you want onto the field. So he's going to be a guy that a lot of teams are going to target, especially in that early second round, mid second round range. He's definitely the best athlete, I would say, out of all the tight ends that we have coming into this class. Does have to work on his blocking. He has very good techniques at times. Gets good hand placement. But sometimes his technique gets a little bit off sometimes, and he gets a little lackadaisical with his technique, like I saw on film a couple times. So Austin Charles is my second guy that I really like a lot, and maybe he could be one of those stars in the league if he gets to the right offensive system. And he's going to be a guy that you really should be looking out for. Third guy is going to be Michael Egnew from the University of Missouri. He's a guy that I think has the potential to probably be one of the top tight ends that we have in this league. His blocking is a little suspect because he plays in that Missouri wide open spread offense where you got guys like where Chase Kaufman came out from. He's bigger than Chase Kaufman. He's about 6'5", 250, a great athlete for his size. You could put him all over the place. You could split him out as an X wide receiver. You could put him just anywhere. He wasn't really a traditional tight end with his hand in the ground on a formation, but he was a guy who was flexed, or he was split out wide, or he was in a slot, or he was just by himself in kind of like an empty formation. He's a guy who likes to get in the middle of the field. He's a big target, like I said. He's going to be great in the red zone. You could put him all over the place. Kind of reminds me of a Kyle Rudolph from last year. I think that Kyle Rudolph is a better blocker than him, but I think Michael Egnew is a better playmaker, especially in the red zone. He's going to be a guy who kind of like Gronkowski, who got a lot of opportunities in the red zone, in the red area. He's going to be a red area specialist for any team that picks him up in the league. So I really like Michael Egnew a lot. Great, solid hands, rarely drops the ball. Like I said, tough, goes across the middle sometimes. He's a mismatch. He can outrun linebackers. He's big enough to get a jump ball opportunity from safeties. So he's going to be a guy that, especially in the league, this new world of tight ends, everybody likes to run two tight end sets where the tight ends aren't traditional tight ends. Some are flexed out wide. Some are in the flex tight end position. So he's going to be a guy to really look out for, and probably a guy who is going to have better numbers in probably his rookie year and be able to start automatically for a team. My fourth guy on the list is Dwayne Allen from Clemson. He was my number one guy coming into this college season last year, but he kind of dropped off a little bit. He had great games. He's one of those guys that every time I watched Clemson, he was the one guy I really targeted a lot because I really liked his game in the tight end position. Saw a couple of things I didn't like. I thought he was a very good blocker for his size. He's really not a great blocker. He can work on it, but sometimes at the point of attack, he's not as strong as I thought he would be, especially if he's going against an end on his side, or sometimes I've seen a lot of linebackers would get up in him and just and outpower him. So he's got to work on his blocking there. He's a tough guy. He catches everything that comes to him. A very good athlete for his size. He's probably going to be like an H-back type of guy who can motion into the backfield and play fullback, or you can motion him out and he'll be a tight end or something. But he's a guy that'll probably be an H-back at the next level, just to find a way, like an NFL, just to find a way to not to have him in nothing but pure blocking situation. But I think he's one of the best pass catching tight ends that we have. Maybe he's probably behind Michael Egnew. He's probably the best pass catching tight end that we have in this draft. And my number 5 guy from the university, from Florida State University, Bo Relaford. He's the guy that I put him on my top 5 board because he has, I think, the most untapped potential out of any tight end in this draft. So a lot of good things that I loved about him in Florida State. Seeing a lot of Florida State games. He had a little problems with academic wise, and he was getting suspended or didn't play or is ineligible to play. However that situation happened, and wasn't really able to show his potential. But I think that he has the great combination of size. He's a very good blocker. A little sketchy when it comes to pass catching, but he's a guy that can outrun linebackers. He can outrun some safeties as well too, especially those strong safeties that like to play that can be in the box a lot of times. He can outrun those guys. Very good route runner for his size. And just one guy, I think that if he gets to a team, and he may not be able to start to be an impact for you your first year out the box, but I think that he's a guy that can end up probably being the number 1 or the number 2, one of the best tight ends in the league 3-4 years down the road, just because I think he has so much untapped potential. So going on to my biggest faller is George Bryant from NC State, a guy who I thought was probably number 1 or number 2 coming into this season, and he just fell off. I don't know if it was due to injury or just NC State really not being a great football team, but he really didn't pop out at me pop out on film a lot of times, and it looked like he wasn't really the guy who I thought that being one of the top tight ends coming out. He never really popped out on film to me most of the time when I was watching him. So that really was a disappointment, but I hope that he can get back to being the guy who I thought he was at the beginning of the college football season. So he's my guy who's my biggest faller. The most underrated value guy to me is going to be James Hanna from Oklahoma. Played a lot of tight end. One of the fastest times at the combine for running. I think he ran about 4.5 or maybe a sub 4.5 or something like that. But he's a guy who's got really good speed. He's a very good blocker. I've seen a lot of him in Oklahoma. Oklahoma uses him a lot in their red zone area packages. He uses his speed a lot, tight end screens and stuff like that. So he's a guy that you can watch out for, who'll probably make some noise in a camp and make a team, and probably be the second tight end or third tight end on the team's depth chart, and potentially be a guy who starts later on down in his career. And my sleeper pick is going to be Blake Ayles from the University of Miami, who transferred from USC. A guy who is going to be, I think, he's going to be a pure H-back. He could play so many different positions. He could play fullback. He could play tight end if he wanted to. He could split out, play flex tight end if he wanted to a little bit as well. But I think he's a guy that has to work on his blocking a little bit. But athletically, he's a guy that he can create mismatch problems for you as well. So he's my sleeper pick. But I have Coby Fleener, Austin Charles, Michael Egnew, Dwayne Allen, and Bo Relaford. Another thing about Dwayne Allen, he does remind me a lot of Martellus Bennett. So like one of those guys who it always had all the athletic talent and tools, but just never lived up to it with the Cowboys. So that's the one thing I want to add about Dwayne Allen. But those are my top 5 guys: Fleener, Austin Charles, Michael Egnew, Dwayne Allen, and Bo Relaford. Let me know what your guys' top 5 are. Who do you think that I missed? And I'll talk to you guys later. All right.